from Monday afternoon. Let's go to the what is probably the game of the weekend, Bayern at home to PSG. We'll take a look at the betting. Firstly, we have a matchbook.com. You can back Bayern at 1.88, PSG 3.9. The draw is 4.6. Both teams to score, yes, is available at 1.5. No, it's 2.76. The Asian handicap line sees PSG get a 3/4 of a goal start, currently available at 1.88. And the goal line is high once again for this fixture, despite the first leg. And that's 3.5, shaded a good bit towards the under, in fairness. So Miguel set up this game, and PSG just keeps scoring in Ligue 1 and conceding as well. So obviously the first leg went in terms of a scoreline 1-0 was quite a surprise. So how do you see this sort of game setting up as a game state? So picture that first 20, 30 minutes for us. How is this going to go? Who's going to have more of the ball? That sort of thing.
Well, I feel like it's going to be a continuation of the last 20 of the first leg, which is basically Mbappe coming on and totally changing the shape and pattern of the match, and almost really stretching Bayern quite to the limit. And that was 1-0. I think that was quite low scoring given the general balance of play, a number of chances. And I think this could be what we expected from the first leg, and a really open game. And Mbappe is the great differential now. So I think this is going to be a proper back and forth with the way and also the necessity of PSG to score. I think that's going to bring out more. Nagelsmann will try and be a bit more tactical about it, but I think this is one of those games, the way Bayern set up and the way, and just the sheer force of Mbappe, which at this point, I know it's something we've said before, it's something that's kind of almost seems obvious to say, but it's so pervasive a force, which is that like Mbappe on the run, when he gets the ball into that kind of 10 meters of space, it's possibly the most it's one of the most exhilarating sights and one of the most influential forces in football at the moment for just the way it can suddenly open up a match. I think that's going to be key here. And I can see this being a proper back and forth. I suppose we'll come into a correct score later, but it almost feels like because this can go either way, the safe one here, if it can be said to be safe when you're going this high, is over 3.5.
Yeah, currently available at 2.16. This is one of those games that first 20 minutes, if there is an early goal, you can see 3, 4, 5, 6 goals easily in this game. Mark, over to you on this one. You agree with Miguel on the goal line, but given how the first leg go, and maybe not the expected goals, but the score line, is there a danger that if that first 20, 30 minutes there is no goal, that this game might be cautious at all, or is Miguel correct in what he's saying?
There's always a danger, but I think there were reasons for why that first leg played out in the way it did, and it was a huge surprise to everyone. But a huge surprise, I think, to everyone that PSG took such a passive approach. We're happy to cede possession to try and play in the counter-attack, even though Mbappe was on the bench. It's just a really puzzling tactical setup when you got Neymar and Messi up front, but no Mbappe, yet you're still trying to play on the counter-attack and chuck balls in behind to two players who need balls to feet. So very surprised, and clearly when he came on, that final half hour really put the skids up Bayern, and you felt they were more than capable of getting something out of that game because the mood shifted, the tempo increased, and the energy sort of cranked up. And they're actually quite unfortunate to get something out of the game. So, this tie is definitely not dead. And I think perhaps the best thing from a PSG perspective is Neymar's injury, because we know he's a world beater, but we know PSG are more vulnerable with that attacking three up front rather than when there's two. They're a much more rounded outfit when one of them's dropped out. There's more energy, there's more shape about them out of possession, and they can still prove just as devastating in forward areas as we saw in the Classique, because Galtier switched to a three-man defence, had Messi and Mbappe up front, and they were mesmeric in the first half, played Marseille off the park, cut them to ribbons, scored 3 goals inside the first half hour. Actually, Marseille didn't play too badly across the full game, but just those two up front were the difference makers. And look, Kimpembe's injury does disrupt things a little bit in defence. Danilo will probably come in if Galtier chooses to continue with the three-man centre-half partnership, because he got his tactics all wrong in that first half, and as well as his selection as well. Zaire Emery and Soler on the wings in a 4-4-2. Just, I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. But PSG, we know, are very, very dangerous. I think they are a really live outsider in this match, actually. I think they score. I think Mbappe definitely scores because Bayern's high line. No Pavard as well. He's suspended. He's been one of the most consistent defenders in 2023. So you're looking at possibly João Cancelo. We know what he's like defensively at times. Alphonso Davies as well on the other flank. So great recovery pace, but in terms of defensive organisation, they can be got at. Upamecano got turned inside out by Colin Muani in a recent Bundesliga game. Mbappe's a level above that. De Ligt has looked quite uncomfortable too. So, I think Bayern are more than good enough, obviously, to finish the job here. But I think I look at PSG's price at 3.9. It's a big, big price. I would not be touching Bayern at 1.89, that's for sure. But the safest play, as Miguel says, is goals here. So I've opted for a slightly more conservative approach, only just over 3.25 goals. It means if there's exactly 3, we only lose half of our stake, but we're actually getting paid out to almost even money anyhow. And if there's 4 or more, we make a profit. So that would be my approach, but I do think PSG have a good chance here.
Okay, yeah, and Adrian, you're in full agreement of the overs angle, which Miguel and Mark have touched on a lot. So maybe pick up the PSG angle for us here, because they do seem quite a big price if they can get that attack in front 3 or 4 to get clicking.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on what Mark said, really. Yeah, I think that for 3/4 of that match in the Parc des Princes, you thought, well, Bayern are on a different level to PSG. It was embarrassingly one-sided, so passive. And then suddenly Neymar comes on and it's like, this is more like it. And I do see him and Messi, because they're both in great form, causing this Bayern rearguard problems. I mean, the team scored 11 in their last 3 games in the Liga, which is pretty impressive. Messi's got 3 of them, and Mbappe's got 5. They've let in a few goals, I think 5 in that run as well. So you wouldn't be sure of them keeping a clean sheet. So the overs angle is clearly obvious. But yeah, I give PSG that chance because of the tactical setup of Nagelsmann with a high line. It will suit Mbappe big time. And I think Bayern will be a little bit frightened of them. They obviously saw off Inter and Barcelona pretty comfortably. 2-0, weren't they, in both the group games? But they didn't come up against Messi and Mbappe. I mean, these are the two greatest, aren't they? And I think they're in the mood they'll definitely be in the mood to wreak havoc here and to keep their Champions League dreams alive. So I think they're going to really attack the game, PSG, and I give them a great chance. On Bayern, Sadio Mane might be back, which is interesting. I think he came off the bench at the weekend. So yeah, PSG will score in the game. I'm pretty confident of that. They might get a couple, which is why I like them on the handicap. I mean, Mark hinted at it there. I mean, you can get PSG on plus 3/4 goal at 1.88. I think you quoted. So you got the draw and the PSG win covered. And if they get beat by a goal, you only lose, half the stake, don't you? So no, I think there's a real chance. The other thing, I don't know what the boys think about Nagelsmann. I don't think I fully trust him yet in the big games for Bayern Munich. I don't know. I don't know what it is about him. I'm just not quite sure that he won't do a Pep and falter when in that big moment where they've it's all there before them.
Okay, yeah, fascinating insights. Before we leave this, Mark, maybe there's one for you here. Shane in the YouTube comments is saying maybe be brave and back PSG at 24.0 in the outright market. I see on Matchbook 22.0 currently. Is that a sort of play for you if you want to maybe like a fun interest bet to cheer on PSG just based on the prices?
Yeah, I like that actually. Yeah, it's a really attractive price. Adrian and I sort of talking up PSG's opportunity here to go and do something in Munich. So yeah, it's a big price. Absolutely would not put anyone off that. It's a big price for a reason. But yeah, absolutely have a little dig.
But they've got to win by 2, haven't they? That's the issue, really.
Yeah. Well, win by 1 and get it to extra time and
exactly. Game. Yeah, exactly. You could do that. Yeah, they could get through that way. It's a big ask to progress, but yeah, I think they're capable.
They have the squad for sure. Yeah, we'll lock in the over 3.25 goals and 1.98, and is one of the guys' best bets here as well.